Okay, ignore the fact that it is like 1 AM and that I look absolutely horrible, because Gwen's theme is absolutely insane and it is packing a lot of references to Gwen's story, so I really just wanted to talk about it. You see, ever since Pantheon, Riot really started focusing on making the theme of the champion part of the champion's story. Or rather, the theme is actually retelling the story which we have already read. If you go through Pantheon's story specifically, you can actually hear the story of a warrior from the Rakoran tribe who becomes an Ascended, and then he meets the God Slayer, and then the god dies. All of that is included in his theme. In the past, the music was just inspired by the champions, but it never retold the story. For example, if you go to Kindred, you may actually hear that Kindred has two main instruments in it. It has a cello and a violin, I believe. And of course, the higher violin is the lamp and the lower cello is the wolf. Now here, Gwen, because Gwen has a really complicated story with about 4 or 5 really important champions or characters, that's why all of this is getting kinda crazy and there is a lot to unpack, so let's just dive right into it. It starts with violin. And of course, if you know me, you know that I am a real sucker for violins. I love them. I love Camille's theme because of that. But the main part here is that you'll hear that it is gonna go really crazy and the violin will be all over the place. No real rhyme or reason to it. It's gonna be all over the place because that's representing Camavor. You will kind of feel the higher aristocracy from it, like a higher class. That's really what this is supposed to represent. Once you hear it, you'll know that's exactly what it is. The higher class of Camavor. Now, very noble. And from this comes Gwen. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. The first thing is that listen to this theme. This is gonna be repeated over and over again. This is the main Gwen part. I call it the Gwen theme, even though this entire music piece is called the champion theme, but this is Gwen's part. That's Gwen. Now here in the background, listen to a deeper cello that goes like... It starts in the background and then it goes to the foreground. That's Gwen, listen for it. And now foreground. And back. That's Gwen stepping out as being what was created from this entire event. Now there is one more really well hidden detail in this. If you really listen to this, and it will be best if you have headphones right now, you can actually hear a string instrument, something similar to a guitar, but from my ear it kind of feels more like a violin when you don't actually play it as it's supposed to be played, but you actually pick the strings. You can hear really slightly that these strings are being picked, and these are Isolde. We will get to this later, but these strings are representing Isolde's influence on Gwen. Try and listen to it. I will raise a finger when you can hear it. It's something like din 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 din. It was there. I have no idea if you could actually hear it, but it is there, and it's a really cool detail because of what will come next. And then we go back to Camavor. And then from Madness of Camavor, we go back to Gwen. However, here, listen how it almost asks a question. You can hear that the entire theme goes a step higher, and that's basically Gwen asking what's happening to her. Listen to it. You can really feel it. Even if you have no taste for music, or if you have no music ear, is what I really try to say, you will definitely feel it. Could you feel that? In the background, you have the violins, and they go half a step up and then half a step down. And that's the question being asked. That's really just Gwen wondering what's happening to her. Now here we should also mention the fact that this entire theme is written as a waltz, and that's because all of this is a dance of blades. That's really what Gwen is doing. Now, waltz is the most typical medieval dance that is out there. Whenever you go to a medieval fair or whenever you see anything medieval where people dance, they dance to this. Listen to how this is structured. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And one more thing, you can actually hear the confusion in the theme that suddenly goes into a serious tone. Right at the end, the very last thing is where it goes to the serious. Now, here we can also mention something that most of you probably missed. You can actually hear the Camavorian theme kinda go together with Gwen's theme and they make something together. Right here you can actually hear both kinds of instruments in one theme. It is actually the violin from the Camavorian kinda high nobility theme, where it actually, instead of being chaotic and all over the place, here it actually had rhyme and rhythm. And that's really Gwen giving it a purpose. And now we're getting to Isolde. It feels very magical, doesn't it? But again, if something is off, very magical, because magic is involved. And something is off. There's a twist. That's what you can feel from this. And here comes the absolute beauty of this. Remember where at the beginning I was telling you to really listen for the guitar-like instrument? Yeah, that's Isolde. You can hear it here. And this is just Gwen remembering the good old days of Gwen away from the kingdom, at the edge of the kingdom somewhere. Happy days. But listen to how in the background, even though there's this beautiful guitar, you can actually hear a really creepy hum at the back, because that's really what's coming for Isolde. Try and listen to the background. Then it goes down. And then of course Isolde's voice. And of course notice that Isolde is actually singing Gwen's part, because of this is reflecting how the moment that Isolde actually made Gwen. And of course this is Isolde's part in the story. This is when Isolde was being taken by Viego, and she was being taken from the side of the kingdom to the capital. And you can kind of hear how, like, things are beautiful. You can hear Isolde's beautiful voice, but it's kind of getting creepier and creepier over time. And that's really because, as we know, things didn't end up well for Isolde, and there is even the theory that Viego didn't really treat her properly. It's the beauty and the creepiness. And here, another thing the majority of people missed out on. Listen to this very carefully. You can actually hear a wind charm in the background, little like, and that's the magic that Isolde is using while crafting Gwen. I'll raise a finger. That's the music. Sorry, that's the magic. and the waltz is getting faster because, of course, Isolde is dying because of poison. And once again, you can actually hear where Isolde is dying in this. If you listen to the music, once again, just as it was where she was crafting Gwen, here again you can hear the creepiness in the background. It's a really fast, deep cello that's giving you like a hum, really creepy hum. Try and listen for the background. Now it goes up. Can you hear it? And then that's the poison working, and then it goes away. Back to the beauty. But Isolde got poisoned. Isolde is dying. And from her death comes Gwen. And you can actually hear, this is the moment when Isolde dies, and from Isolde comes Gwen. That's why Isolde is actually singing Gwen's theme with her own voice. And the creepiness. One more time, I want you to listen for the half step down because of the creepiness and the ghastly theme that's really happening here. But also notice that it is still following the blade dance. And we're going back home. Back to the chaotic highborn theme, because as Gwen is fighting the undead, that's really what's happening there. And then Gwen's theme is back. Did you hear that? That was Gwen's theme played with the musical chimes. It goes like dee 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 dee. And this effect, the reason why this sounds weird is because someone played the chimes, they played this specific theme with the chimes, but then they played it backwards. That's why instead of doing wee, it's going whip. That's the effect of playing something backwards. And I'm just blown away by this. This is just so incredibly well made. I almost said no words, but apparently I had like 15 minutes of words for this. But yeah, I didn't want to release this on the first channel because, you know, the music can be portrayed in many different ways. But Jesus Christ, this is so cool. This is absolutely insane. Good job, Riot. This was so well made.